Aaron Rodgers has told the Steelers, other NFL teams, he's made some personal commitments. Apparently, one of those commitments was watching the Kentucky Derby. Rodgers has yet to decide his NFL future, but it appears that if he does play, it'll be for the Steelers, whose starting quarterback position is still unresolved. That's why we bring in our NFL insider, Jeremy Fowler. He's here with us to give us some insight. So Pittsburgh's still waiting, obviously, on Aaron Rodgers. But then George Pickens' name, it was thrown around in some maybe possible trade discussions before the draft. I know my Cowboys supposedly inquired. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so George Pickens, his name was bantered around at the trade deadline or around the NFL draft. I'm told trade talks have really cooled here and that George Pickens, despite giving it some thought about a possible home elsewhere, he does want to stay in Pittsburgh. He feels a loyalty to Mike Tomlin, wants to make this work. He's in a contract year, so I never sensed any sort of major momentum here. Keep in mind, the Steelers are in a position where they need to keep that receiver room as attractive as possible for that man you saw at the Kentucky Derby. Aaron Rodgers not yet signed, so they're not really in the business of trading off capable pieces right now that he could potentially be throwing to. So my sense right now is that the Steelers remain optimistic, like they have been, about Rodgers eventually signing with Pittsburgh, but it's his first foray into free agency in his 20-year career. Still feels like anything can happen, but right now it is status quo with the Steelers and Rodgers. Okay, let's stay in the AFC. Let's stay in that division, by the way, because the Bengals, you know, they draft defensive end Shamar Stewart there, and it's some people said maybe that's an end of Trey Hendrickson in his era there in Cincinnati. What can you tell us about there? Yeah, they still want Trey, but this is at a contract stalemate a little bit. Both sides are just sort of waiting this out post-draft. They got a few months to try to shake out a long-term extension that Hendrickson certainly deserves after being a huge sack producer the last few years. So the Bengals want to get this done. Certainly they've made a commitment to trying to do it, but they have not made enough progress right now where a deal is imminent. But there's really not a lot of trade buzz here either. It sounds like he's going to be able to stay there, but they do have to get this done if they want him in the building playing games for them. And you got Jalen Ramsey. So Miami has been calling around on Ramsey, trying to work a potential trade. They were doing so in the days leading up to the NFL draft. So something could shake out here this offseason. I'm told Ramsey does want to play for a contender, so he wouldn't just go to any team considering his age, his pedigree as a Super Bowl winner. The sticking point here is that $24 million in guarantees. My sense after asking around is Miami has not been overly eager to cover some of that bill, which sort of makes a trade hard to pull off right now. LA Rams, it could be a reunion here. They've been in the mix here. They are a team to watch, certainly, for Ramsey. All right, that's our Jeremy Fowler with the latest.
From the postseason to the offseason, the Cowboys rookie minicamp started on Friday and continues this weekend. They took offensive guard Tyler Booker from Alabama with their first-round pick. So it's Jeremy Fowler's ringtone. We're talking football, so let's bring out the Fowler Files. Jeremy, still have some work ahead outside of rookie camp for the Cowboys. We know that they're trying to get a deal done with Micah Parsons. So where are they in that process at this moment?
Well, Scooby, trying is relative. They want to sign Micah Parsons. They plan to. They budgeted to do so. But I'm told the Cowboys have not yet ramped up negotiations with Micah Parsons and his agent. That will come. The Cowboys love to take their time with these sort of deals. You saw it last year with Dak Prescott. Didn't get done until right before the season. Late August for CeeDee Lamb. They've done that in the past. So they do have a penchant for paying their star players. They know what the market is. We're talking $35, $40 million per year for a player of this caliber. So they got a couple months to shake that out. In the meantime, Amari Cooper. Cowboys do need an extra wide receiver coming out of the draft. They did not take one. I'm told there is at least some mutual interest between Amari Cooper and the Cowboys having some sort of reunion. Now, the Cowboys don't want to spend big here. Amari Cooper's made, nearly $140 million in his career, so he's probably not eager to take a low deal here. They would have to work something out. But as one source told me, that this might be good for both sides to come back together and run it back.
I can hear Cowboys fans sucking their teeth right now all over America. But Dallas rookies in camp right now. Browns rookies get there Friday, including Shedeur Sanders. That's a crowded QB room that they got over there. What's the possibility of a trade or two going on in Cleveland?
Well, asking around after the draft, the sense I get is the Browns value or look at their roster through the prism of currency, through value, right? So that could lead to a potential trade down the road because it is a crowded room. Head coach Kevin Stefanski does like to keep 4 quarterbacks in his room. You see Deshaun Watson there, probably won't be a part of that because of the injury. So you roll with those 4. They gave up a 3rd-round pick and 2 5th-round picks for Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. Maybe they can recoup some of that if they showcase one of those players in the preseason or one looks good or there's an injury down the road. So we'll see what happens. They're going to give these guys a shot. They are very high on Dillon Gabriel. That's a player that I had earmarked going into the draft, was hearing from other teams that the Browns low-key really liked. He's a smaller player, so he didn't have a high draft status, but they love the way he plays the position. So we'll see if he can make a little move here.
I have a feeling you're going to be talking about the Browns a lot on SportsCenter this season.
No doubt.
In the past 10 years, the Browns have more seasons with 3 or fewer wins than they have playoff appearances. That's crazy, but we'll talk about them a lot. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks, man.
Welcome back to SportsCenter. Shea Cornett, Jay Harris, and rookie minicamp underway for several teams. One of the bigger names participating this week, third-round pick Jalen Milroe. The Seahawks grabbing the Alabama QB with the 92nd overall pick. He joins the quarterback room with Sam Darnold and Drew Lock in Seattle. With that, we say good morning to senior NFL writer Jeremy Fowler. So, my friend, what are you hearing about Seattle's plans for Mr. Milroe?
Yeah, Jay, he could definitely see the field in some capacity. The expectation is Seattle creates a package for Jalen Milroe to utilize that dual threat ability, see what he can do. He's a great runner, of course. Whether they use that package in game time action will be up to them. Sam Darnold is clearly the guy, but they're definitely intrigued of some ways utilizing him. Think like Taysom Hill without the tight end H-back stuff, right? That could be him potentially. And the issue here is they want to develop him as a pure quarterback. That could take some time. Most scouts I talked to pre-draft thought if you give him a year or two, he could really be great. So there's a possibility he's QB3 on that depth chart when the season starts because they have Drew Lock there, a veteran they trust, so they could develop him behind the scenes, but then he can still get on the field. They got plenty of options with a very talented player.
Indeed. All right, let's talk about the Cowboys because they were ready to pick Ted McMillan in the first round and pair him with CeeDee Lamb before the Panthers spoiled all of that. What are Dallas's plans to get some receiver help?
Well, they certainly could add an extra receiver. Amari Cooper is a player I'm watching. Could be a reunion there. I'm told there's at least some mutual interest in a potential repairing. Money is typically the sticking point with these. Dallas, not a big spender this offseason. Probably doesn't want to spend big is my sense. And Amari Cooper's made almost $140 million in his career, so he's probably not going to take a minimum discount contract.
Right.
They'd have to work something out. But as one source told me, this could be good for both sides. They know each other well. They've been through the trenches together, so we'll see if it shakes out.
Okay, Jeremy Fowler with the latest. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks.
Tất cả các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ làm một chiếc video là tô màu những sản phẩm, hoa quả, con vật, đồ vật, vân vân. Nếu các bạn chưa biết sản phẩm gì đúng không, thì hãy xem hết video và để lại một cái like và một lượt subscribe để mình có thể tiếp tục động lực ra video nhé. Và bây giờ các bạn hãy xem hết video để biết đó là sản phẩm gì nhé. Bây giờ các bạn cùng mình đi tô màu nào.